Namaste and welcome. I hope you guys are doing safe. This video is more about Sun, Mercury and Ketu conjunction. I wanted to make a video around these three planets. When they come together, what can you expect? And we'll talk about across different houses from 1 to 12. If you have that in your chart, how does that look like? What essentially that means? And what are the most probable situations out of that? Now, astrology is called as Jyotish or Jyotisha in Sanskrit, which is predominantly, I call it like a light in the darkness in a room, and then there's a torchlight, you press that button, it will basically open up the doors for at least, hey, I should see there or there, what's in there. So it's like uncovering what is more destined for you. So I will talk on the similar lines for Sun, Mercury and Ketu conjunction. So let's get started on that. Things first, it's basically a little rare combination, and it predominantly, I'll talk about each. So Sun is mostly about your father, your self-esteem, your pride, your ego as well, and what kinds of triggers you, like what is that something that you cannot take. It's more like imagine like more like a kingly traits, I would say. So if somebody is the king, he or she may not like what kind of behavior. Somebody has to be respectful, right? So that's what we mean by essentially a king. So those are the things which is represented by Sun, and it also represents vitamin D3, your health in general, and it also affects your the growth of your bones, I would say. So that's one part of it. The second planet we are going to talk about is Mercury. Mercury is your analytical ability, your communication skills, your ability to see through data, connect points, and also to be candid during talks. It also gives a lot of weightage into things like relational aspect of things. So how does one thing relate to second? How does one activity correspond to the second one, or what's the relationship between them? So that's basically Mercury. It is also your intellect, mostly to do with your brain, I would say. Your mind is the correct word, not brain. So how mindful you are, how much can you think. It's more like a young prince, 15-16-year-old, slightly like a teenager guy, I would say, who is young, very witty. So this is that planet. So Mercury is that. The third one is Ketu. It's purely about spirituality and detachment, if you will. So it's mostly like your whole body is actually Ketu. If you know the story of Rahu and Ketu, how they came into existence. To simplify, the top portion of the head is Rahu and the whole body is Ketu. This life, if you look at astrology, is again the whole sole purpose. One of the ways to look at it is that all you have to do is make sure that Rahu and Ketu is aligned at the end of the day. So your head meets the body. There are ways to look at Rahu and Ketu aspects, or Ketu specifically, and then decide the whole chart, give predictions around that. So I'm talking more on those lines. So Ketu is your body, your whole spirituality, your detachment from society, your salvation, your isolation, and things that you want to get away from. It also means things that you are not able to express yourself much about. These are also the things that you would like to keep within yourself. Introvert in some word is a very big example of like a high Ketu, I would say, or somebody who is not expressive enough. They do feel, but they're not talkative as much as an extrovert, going by pretty much similar English language, right? So those are the three planets we are going to talk about. When they come in together, what happens? Now, obviously, when they come in together, there will be a lot of factors. It will depend upon how closely they are conjunct, which is like they're, let's say, within 1, 2, 3, 4 degrees, they'll be having more effect on somebody's chart. Likewise, if they are a little far away, it may not be that predominant. Now, Sun and Mercury itself is like a Buddha Ditya Yoga, which is basically, it's a good yoga to have, or a good yoga to have. So, and somebody like a Ketu comes, which is more like a darkness or dark planet, which is more like a, we call it malefic planets otherwise, which is going to be not that malefic anymore, not like a Buddha yoga for sure, right? So let's start with house-wise, and I'm going to go through house 1, 2, 3, trying my best to emphasize upon what would matter in each house from 1 to 12 houses. So the first one is Sun, Mercury and Ketu in house 1. Now this combination is rare. More than 18 years, I would say you can expect it to be once in a blue moon situation. And here what happens is that the person is very self-centered on around himself. They have very high intuition or psychic abilities, but they are somewhat detached from the society. They can really see through a lot of things in terms of intuition that they have, and they may like to be like they will be actually in a position of power. They'll also have a sharp intellect, and the expressions of themselves they will predominantly try to keep within themselves, but their whole life is about their whole body, their whole purpose. How do I look? What can I do more? Should I be working around more, like having a shiny outfit today? Should I be working more around my intellectual abilities? They would love data for sure, right? So this whole conjunction in general, the conjunction reminds us of Seva Bhava in Hindi or something, which is like somebody who is meant to do service to others. It's a very good combination for a celebrity or a politician more specifically. This is like a very, very strong yoga to be successful in politics, because they have like a kingly pleasure through sun across their life, and they do have the Mercury like analytical data insight driven abilities, I would say. And then Ketu is basically backing the whole spirituality angle, which gives them the whole ability to see through things. It also can mean sometimes though a lack of little bit of communication skills, lack of attachment with the father, because sun is also a father in other words. So it could go in either direction. This is how the whole chart is presented, or how your whole chart is playing out in terms of all these 9 planets that we have. What is happening in each house, what are the kinds of aspects that we see, which Rashi is that belonging to in which particular house of the chart, and also there are significant attributes around the drishti, or which planet is affecting what part of your house. There are a lot of factors, but this is again assuming that we are only talking about this conjunction specific around different houses, but we are not getting into details of all the aspects or anybody's birth chart for that matter. Alright, so the first one is, of course, I spoke about, it is more about doing service to other, Seva Bhava, or good for politicians, celebrities, anybody trying to be very competitive. It's a very good combination for this person. Will also be very, very competitive in exams, right? So they can see through things. They will have, I would say, they can be obviously detached from society, so there can be time in this personal life will surely have a time where there is completely isolated. They want to be alone, explore mindfulness, meditation, and also being away from all their surroundings, all their peers, all their partners, I would say. So that's again a very big possibility in terms of what could happen with this person. And apart from that, depending upon again how close Sun or Ketu is, so it will also mean some lack of, it could easily get into some lack of vitamin D3 in their body, vitality in the sense. The whole shining attributes of the face could also be affected. So that's basically about house 1. I'll move on to house 2, which is again more to do with your income, the way you earn money, and somebody will follow culture or not, but our Marka house, I guess 2 and 7. So in this situation, it will be again a very good service-driven orientation for this individual. They would earn from servicing others in the terms of purely devotion to the society, social causes, charity, not-for-profit businesses, and having a kingly pleasure and kingly attributes while they talk to the audience or their customers or whoever they are earning money from. They will be seen as a highly spiritual guy. People will want to come and give them money, right? So this is a very good placement for income source, but there is a small detachment again depending upon how Ketu is placed apart from Sun and Mercury. This can also give some sort of detachment from for-profit jobs or for-profit businesses. This person may prefer to be in service-oriented businesses. Charity is one of the ways to look at. They could be completely detached. It's a very good combination for Hatha Yoga or any sort of going into yogic or meditative practices as well. So that's about house number 2. It also denotes that this person may or may not, there are high chances this person may be detached from their own place of birth in terms of cultural aspects. They might want to pursue the cultural aspect, but it's slightly different, twisted way. So let's say if they want a specific geography or a specific religion, they will have their own thought process of how they perceive that. Also from their own parents. If the parents are following, let's say, culture X, they might follow culture Y. They might not listen to the parents. It's very easy to happen in this situation. Depending upon how good, bad, or ugly Sun, Mercury, and Ketu is placed. Again, I said aspects and everything else matters. So again, assuming we are already talking about houses and these 3 planets, now we're talking about house number 3, which is to do with your siblings, your communications, media abilities, marketing, and all that we talk about, right? So it's very good. Also your courage. So let's say these 3 planets are placed into house number 3. We are talking about this person to be very witty and courageous, because they'll have a very big self-esteem and ego, so it will kind of boost. So they get courage with the mix of boost of ego as well, which is a very deadly combination, right, for somebody to have. It's a very good, somebody who is a very good firefighter, somebody who is very courageous. They can get into masculine jobs, anything and everything that they like. There might be small detachment, or let's say keeping their feelings within themselves, so even if they get angry, they may not be able to express as much. But again, they are chosen by the divine. This combination is very rare and very service oriented. So they might want to service something in media, communication, social media, telecom, anything to do with anything and everything to do with media, journalism, entertainment industry. More specifically around also their siblings, but there is a small detachment angle because of Ketu, so they might be detached from the siblings as well. They might not have as big chemistry, and it is very more likely to happen in this case because of Sun will be ego boost. Mercury will though give calculations about what matters or not, but again in terms of Ketu it will be purely detachment. So it's mostly somebody who is also going to spend a lot of time away from their siblings or their immediate cousins, I would say. So that's about house number 3. If it is house number 4, that gets very interesting, because here this person will be bound to have a lot of I would say mother's house, right? House number 4. So we're talking about they may have a lot of luxury, comfort, property, real estate in that matter, but there could be quarrels as well. They could have ego clashes easily. They could easily have the good part is there will be good calculations around how do I bring my property A versus property B. How do I make sure that I'm growing enough to have enough of money and assets or income in my life? That will be very, very predominant in this house number 4. But again, there is a small detachment. There could be easy problems in inheritance as well. So this person may not like to be closer to the mother, or they might not live closer to the house or the place, or let's say the city they were born. They might actually travel a little bit on the other side, away from the mother, away from their janma or wherever they were born, that land, and explore things more on that. There is a isolation angle as well. So this person may want to be at peace. He or she, whoever it is, right, may want to be very aloof, very much in isolation, spending a lot of time with their own self. Kind of very good for meditation though. Like they would love meditation at home, not outside home. They might be very active the other way around, because you will have a Rahu and 10, so it's a very good combination for foreign settlement. It denotes somebody who is more likely to get a foreign job, foreign assignments, foreign businesses, working in an MNC, and also in terms of being away from the mother's house or the land they were raised with or raised in. So that's what we mean by house number 4. I'll quickly move on to house number 5. House number 5 is your past life karmas, your past life duties. So this is very denotes somebody who can get into a higher education. Let's say their undergraduate program can easily be into psychology, mind readings, some sort of occult as well. And this person will be able to see through a lot. So there is a small detachment from kids that we see, but again in terms of Sun and Mercury being there, they could be easily have a good number of sons, right? So prince like kids, right? Or more chances to do with Sun, but there is a small detachment depending upon how closely Ketu is conjunct in this combination or conjunction. I would say it will be purely depending upon that fact. Again, because of the past life, this has been in their chart. So this person will have a lot of benefit from the government. They may have a government job plus minus some detachment from it, so they'll be probably having a government job but a lot of dissatisfaction from the government job. They might also have some sort of skin problems here. It was quite a possibility in this field. So, or their kids might have some sort of skin related disorders, diseases, whatever you call it, and they might have like lack of satisfaction, dissatisfied, in other words, with the government stuff. They are somebody who can be easily standing up against the government of any particular country, but it's a very intellectual person. They might have the ability to see through the child's future. They might be able to there's a lot of blessing coming in from house number 9 here. So because Sun is going to see the house number 9, Mercury is also going to see the house number 9, and Ketu, of course. So Ketu there means it is again a very good, they have a high chances of deciding their own religious pathway, own sense of I would say karma and dharma, right? So they're basically luck, religion, fate would be purely influenced from the past life birth. It's a good combination to have in that way in house number 5. But again, there could be small disattachment from or dissatisfaction with the kids. There could be psychological related behavior. They might want to pursue. It's a very good R&D profile. So it could be easily a psychologist, a scientist, or doctor to a great extent. Somebody who is very introvert but still makes a lot of sense in analytics, and he has a very good visibility as well. So it could be a very good software guy as well. So that's about house number 5. I'll move on to the house number 6. House number 6 is your Rogue house of Rogue Riborn, or other words is in English it will be enemy house, house of debt, your reputation in society, your work life or work life balance, in other words, and your office life in general. So this person in this position is basically not meant for a job. I can vouch for this fact because I have personally experienced this part. The moment they are into a day-to-day routine job, because this is purely detachment. Now this is again a 6, 8 and 12 are Dushasthana house as we call it, but this is mostly an house which is of enemy, but Ketu is detachment. So here what will happen is it will be exact opposite of the way it was working between house number 1 to 5. So let's say this person may have a totally different approach. So it's a very blessed approach in the sense that let's say enemy comes in, this guy will like be able to see through that enemy, that that person is with me or without me, and this person will also be able to see through their whole intention of being an enemy and even their next moves. So there's a lot of intuition that comes. It's a very heavy intuition combination, and it's actually one of the most profound intuition combinations you can have in Vedic astrology. This place having Ketu is like mind-boggling, and this person can easily get dreams. He can, the moment somebody comes in, they can see through, and actually enemies will be turned away. So they will realize this, that when they come in front of this person, they will know for sure that I don't want to compete with this guy. He seems very dangerous, or he seems very reading of me, right? So that person will not like. So this person is very less likely to have a lot of enemies. Enemies would usually run away, turn away from this person. Anybody who has Sun, Mercury and Ketu in 6th house. And then apart from that, this is somewhat like we call it somebody who gets suddenly mood swings, right? This is like Rahu will be in house number 12 in this position. So what will happen is your mind, which is Mercury, is basically sort of afflicted with Rahu's 7th, I would say 5, 7, 9 years, 7th aspect. So what will happen is that this person will have sudden emotional outbursts. So this person, when they decide something, or if their mind thinks that way, they would definitely do it. If their mind is, I would not say mind, but it's mostly the calculations or the analytical ability. We call it logical reasoning, in other words. That's a better word, right? So in terms of how they calculate things, how the whole, the buddhi or the brain or the mind works, it's more to do with buddhi or the intelligence, intellect, right? It will be sharpened. This person is very, very competent. If they decide, they can get into any sort of competitive exams. And this is true to the other houses, like 5th house, the 5th house that I spoke about earlier. But this person can be very competitive in exams. He can crack anything he want, he or she, right? So that basically is the biggest attribute of this. So they will be very good fit for a doctor here, like perfect doctors, nurses, midwifery, whatever you call it, or a litigation expert. Uh, you know, this position also denotes somebody who is going to be a very good legislative guy, somebody who is a judge or advocate or just something into legal profession. They could also be learning legal firm businesses or legal document management sort of businesses or likewise. This is a very competitive thing. It's a very good thing to be to have a business leader, but this is very intuition driven. So this is very good in position for occult kind of businesses, right? So that's what it is. It denotes some problems with father as well on the negative side of it. So you may not have there's a lot of arguments with the father. Father's health may be affected. This clearly denotes, depending upon again the Ketu, strongness of Ketu, because it's, to be honest with you guys, this is mostly a Ketu game. When Sun is there, Mercury is there, and Ketu is there together, the dominating factor will be Ketu always. This is like your whole body, and it's a very strong. I have felt it personally. I know in astrology how it works, right? So it's like when that dasha comes in Antardasha or Patyantar Dasha, which is like the time period of that particular planet, it is very tough. I've seen people becoming grayish, the hair will turn grey, your body may be pale, weak, you might not want to talk with anybody, you might love isolation, love being in one place, but this combination is again not so great for father, but your intellect kicks in when somebody talks to you or argues with you. Very good combination for arguments, right? Absolutely perfect for arguments, litigation, being a surgery guy, a doctor, even a psychologist for that matter. But this fundamentally denotes that the person should have their own practice, predominantly work from home, stay away from office, and very important part here is stay away from regular office rat race. Like 9 to 5 is absolutely no here. I have personally experienced that. So that's about house number 6. But there's a trick here, because Rahu will be on the house in the house 12. It also means a lot of times that at least one point in their life they might have to see isolation, which is through some disease, hospitalization, expenses, or it would also mean to some extent going to jail or just being in police custody for a while. It will not be for a long period of time, but this can also denote that part, to be honest, right? So that's about house number 6. Number 7, again it directly affects the spouse or commercial activity, businesses, right? So this denotes somebody with very competitive skill sets, very competitive for a very competitive wife or spouse or husband that you get here. But again, that person may have very sharp intellect. So there is a detachment angle, so it's not so great for marriage and relationship, because this person will have absolute heated arguments. Number one, very calculative in what they are talking, and it will be afflicted because again the Mr. Rahu goes to house number 1 here, which is like this person can easily be tricked. They are very self-centered about their own self, so they could be so self-centered that they will have no understanding, a very less understanding of the spouse, what they are thinking. So if they get into commercial activity, is again not a great thing to have, because they will not be able to understand each other. Even partnerships are more or less prone to break here in this case. So that's about house number 7. It also denotes commercial activity to some extent. So let's say if you were to start a business, if you were to start something of your own, it also means that if you work through a spouse, it's good. So let's say if somebody gets a spouse who is very religious, right? If they are having a very religious bent of mind, they worship whatever religion you believe in every day and night, then this person is somewhat little bit okay. Like this still work in a lot of marriage relationships and all of that. But usually the ego is inbound here. There will be a lot of self-esteem, a lot of ego, and they will revolt, I would say, fire back or protest back like a son or a king. So be prepared and watchful for this thing, but it's a good thing, very good thing for business as well. But small amount of detachment will always be there, depending on Ketu's position again. But it is mostly a Ketu game, so please remember that it is your whole body after this whole thing, and there is no escape there. So moving on to house number 8, which is house of sudden transformations. longevity, death, not so great house to look at. But again, here this person is, it's very, again, it's a Dushtasthana, or not a great house to have, but this behaves fantastic again in house number 8. So this person can have little bit challenges with their health, depending upon where it is placed, or the whole body itself. Sun going here or with Mercury is not so great, but again in terms of Ketu going here will help a lot. In this person can get easily a lot of dreams, divine interventions in their life. When they want, somebody will come of help. Lord Ganesha or Bhagwan Ganesh becomes very helpful in this situation on house number 8. They must pray to Lord Ganesha for blessings here. And then this is like house of sudden transformation, right? So suddenly things might change. This person might get money from somewhere, inheritance from somewhere all of a sudden, but there could be completely detachment as well. So even if they get, they might say no, or something else might happen. So here it's also about your inner hidden desires sort of thing. So they might not be able to express that. Shows not so positive relationship with in-laws. It's a very good position for occult, to be honest. So this could be, this shows somebody who had some background in some sort of tantra, which is more to do with morality. They might be a yogi in the last birth, previous birth, somewhat on those lines. But again, 8th house is not that, again similar to 12th house, is not that well known or explored. But this can give sudden gains, sudden losses, sudden problems or conflicts with the father for sure. And it can also afflict the mind or the brain or whole analytical ability. So it can trick you into the communication skills, some gaps in the communication skills. When they talk, people don't understand, or when they talk, people might not be able to comprehend what we are trying to sense, right? So these things are very, very possible in house number 8. I'll move on to house number 9 quickly. Sun, Moon, Sun, Mercury and Ketu again. So again, it shows somewhat detachment. So they might not be that lucky though. This person is very hard working, but I would say some again detachment with father here. They may have their own sweet understanding of religion, how they want to perceive it. Luck will work when Lord Ganesha comes for blessing here, and if they are, again depending upon how these 3 planets are placed in your birth chart, it will purely depend upon that, to be honest. But Sun here is okay, Mercury, and depending upon how close they are. So let's say Sun, Mercury and Ketu comes in, it surely shows you have your own sense of belief systems. Somebody might change religion for sure. It's quite a possibility here. Somebody might feel that they are not lucky, but they are actually lucky. So it's like the person may not want to share with anybody that this happened with me, they were very lucky, and then which is actually happening. And it also gives a very strong intuition and sense of belief system. So this is like this person will be very can easily be very vocal about somebody, talking anything about their religion, belief system or faith in general. They might feel they are not lucky, but they will actually be lucky in this situation. They might have some challenges with the progeny or the birth of a child. They are more likely to have a boy child than a girl child in this situation again. But then overall, it's a tough situation. They might have to work hard a lot, but they will be very good fit for occult, a religious teacher, preacher, and specifically around calculations. Will be very good in R&D, a scientist, psychology, the space science, astronomy, astrology, everything comes into picture from here. So this is that kind of combination, but again, because of detachment that we see, this person may not feel that they are lucky, but again, that depends upon a lot of factors again. Moving on to house number 10, which is the professional house of profession, the way you earn bread and butter, money, and your colleagues in general. This person may have good visibility at times, but he will be seen as a go-getter guy for analytics, right? He will be very good, a data scientist, a data analytics scientist, or analytics professional, or somebody who is. But again, like I said, this combination here will show detachment from the job. If this person gets into a job, there will be job hopping, there will be a lot of not so pleasurable moments, a lot of ego clashes with the direct bosses or anybody in the power. They might think negatively of the government of that country. They'll be very criticizing, actually very critical. This person will have very critical observations. So it's a very good thing for R&D research or any kind of profession that involves going deep into the data, right? Like hardcore deep. And then there's an effect on the fourth house here, which is like some quarrel, misunderstanding with the father because of the job, but again at the same time it also affects the mother. So it's not so great for the immediate parents, to be honest, this position. And it gives a lot of intellect again here, a lot of psychological abilities, a lot of psychic powers or intuition, I would say. So this person at work will be able to see through people. He will see through the reality, or that person will be able to gauge what does it look like if that person has to work 5 years in that company or not, right? So this person is very calculative, very smart, attitude of a king, but at the same time very sharp intellectual abilities, very calculative, very spark oriented, right? So there's a challenge in his personal life in terms of parental pressure, disagreements with father and mother, both at the same time, but phenomenal for the job growth. But again, it's better for this person to be doing something of their own practice rather than working in a job environment, because the moment they go to a job, they will hate it. So it's better to work from home. This is a very good work from home profile, I would say. Anything in your own practice, which you can run from a small shop, at your own home, this is the best profile, right? This is a very good combination. Going on to house number 11, which is the social circle, your friends and surroundings, and house of your desire fulfillment as well, in other words. So this shows lack of friends. You will have ego clashes with friends. The moment you open your mouth, that person will say, hey, she's very egoistic, she doesn't like me, all of that, right? She is very calculative, why don't they stop talking? This person will be very vocal. They'll be like a fire, right? They'll come back like a fire on their friends, but they'll be very critical. So they will tell them, you don't look great today, what are you wearing, your shoes are not great. So if this happens to be a girl, she'll be like vocal like anything to the social circle, friends and family, more to do with their colleagues in general. But if it happens to be a boy, it will again be very critical, R&D research guy, right? So but it shows because of that you will have less friends, because there's a detachment from Ketu which is coming in. So your friends would run away. The moment you tell them, they will feel sad, bad, ugly, whatever you say, they will run away. Accordingly, for the same male, female, doesn't matter, right? It will be the same thing. So you expect less of friends, but you will be able to gauge through them. That person will be able to see through, okay, they are genuine friends or not, but this person, the good part of this combination or conjunction is also that they will test their friends very well. They will know who is my friend and who should not be my friend at all. So that is a big ability, which is a plus point, I would say, to be able to see through your friends. But again, lack is less friends, less of social circle, less of social gatherings, ego clashes with any community building. So, but this is destined. There's nothing wrong or right about it. This is predestined in your birth chart, right? So, so that's what I mean by this combination in 11th house. This is very interesting though. It will be funny, but again, it could be quarrelsome between friends. It could be a lot of misunderstanding. It could be heated argument. This person will have heated like anything. Not so great position for job or having colleagues, a lot of colleagues. You should have to be very ideal situation would be have a calm posture when you're out, when you're in social circles. Be reserved, which will be the case. This person will be reserved unless and until somebody touches them. But when somebody touches them, this will become very sort of not so great to have. I'll move to the last house with background note, which is the 12th house of isolation, hospitalization, expenses, and all of that, right? So I would say, so house number 12 is the house of isolation, separation, hospitalization, expenses, and also the jail or the prison part of it, right? So this combination in that is a very spiritual thing. This shows somebody who is like almost an enlightened human being, I would say, and they just chose to be born here. Now this is a very difficult combination to be present in 12th house, to be honest, but again it shows somebody with a lot of psychic insight. They could easily be a yoga guru, a psychic, spiritual expert or a spiritual guy, all right, or a leader in some sort of a domain. It could be AI as well. It could be AI related leadership. Somebody who has very strong astronomy understanding, somebody who is trying to explore different planets, somebody who is a space scientist, a rocket scientist, somebody who is who desires about other planets, other beings, or other human-like elements, UFOs, sort of a thing. So this person could be, again, this is a good thing for all this part, but the negative aspects are the bedroom part of it. Like this person may not want to be in the bedroom. They might have a heated argument. It shows some amount of STDs to some extent, and is easily possible here. The body will have a lot of heat, in other words, and then it also denotes somebody with, again, high psychic abilities. So depending upon how the placements are done for these three planets, Sun, Mercury and Ketu, will be there. Now I wanted to emphasize the fact that there's a very famous personality which India's Prime Minister, as we know him, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, has this exact same combination in the 11th house, which I already spoke about. So again, like I said, this is mostly about serving others, and in 12th house it will be predominantly serving others like anything. So this person will have a completely detached from the society. They would want to pursue isolation, sort of, you know. It is troublesome position to have a spouse, wife or a husband, in other words, but a very good position for not-for-profit businesses, spiritual inclinements, spiritual pursuits, or even somebody who is having mindfulness or psychic abilities in general. So Mr. Narendra Modi has this on the 11th house, which is one of the, you know, exact same combination, Sun, Mercury and Ketu in 11th house. I remember he has in his birth chart, and I hope I'm talking about the correct birth chart, because there are many versions out there, but this is the predominantly widely accepted one, which I would say. So likewise, so 12th house is mostly meant for others. This person is born out of their own will on this planet to serve others, but they might have some challenges with some sort of king or person in authority in the past life, and they might have gone through some sort of gaps in communication. They were not able to comprehend or not able to talk through. Maybe there could be some of the reasons why they were even born. Rare combination to have, but that's what we mean by 12th house. Troublesome position for bedroom pleasures, having a spouse at all, right? So I hope I covered from house 1 to 12. I gave an example of PM Narendra Modi's chart as well. I hope this video helps you. Thank you for watching. My name is Neeraj. Namaste.